Bichang wasn't just a farmer's son anymore. He was the pharaoh, not just of Persia, but way, way beyond. Every ruler, from the dusty kingdoms of the west to the spice-laden empires of the east, knew his name and practically bowed just hearing it. No army, no fancy weapons, no sneaky rebellion could even touch his empire. Any tiny hint of defiance? Squashed with a mere thought, like swatting flies off a picnic table. His power just kept exploding, fueled by an endless stream of wishes. It wasn't about wanting more stuff anymore. It was about surviving, about keeping that terrifying promise at bay. But then, one quiet night, stretched out in his ridiculously fancy open-air caravan, his beautiful wife sleeping peacefully beside him under a sky absolutely bursting with stars, Bijan felt it. This weird, hollow feeling, a deep, bone-weary dissatisfaction that clawed at him. All the power, all the riches, all the respect, it was just empty. Food tasted like ash, the finest wines were just bland water, and every incredible experience felt utterly flat. He was disgusted with his own fate, trapped by the very thing that made him invincible. He lay there, whimpering softly into the vast, indifferent desert night.
So, hero, what's your next wish? Let me hear them.
Maybe if he knew her story, he could find a way out of this whole mess. So, Wachmun, he tried, trying to sound chill even though he was anything but. Tell me more about yourself. Like, how'd you even get made on Earth? She snapped back, a low growl rumbling in her chest. Hey human, don't push it. What's your wish? No small talk, no friendly chat, just raw power and a big fat nope. That's when it hit Bijan like a ton of bricks. This genie wasn't just chilling, waiting. She was totally on the hunt, actively pushing him, nudging him closer to running out of wishes. The clock was ticking. Wachmun's eyes, hungry and ancient, bored right into him. Her voice, flat and demanding again, sliced through the air. So, what's your next wish? Bijan was deep in thought, figuring out his next move. He just wished he could see his parents' place. And bam! Before he could even finish the thought, he was standing smack in his dad's bedroom. His old man was snoring away in this super fancy silk bed, with one of those harem ladies next to him. Dad's face looked pretty much the same as before they hit the jackpot. Even with all the new money, Bijan just stared, trying to figure out if all this craziness, all this power, had actually made things better for anyone. Was this what making life better even looked like? Just then, Wachmun's creepy voice was right there, like a shadow falling over him. So what's your next wish? It hit him like a ton of bricks. The genie wasn't just fast, she was really fast. Like she was practically finishing his sentences before he even thought them. She was predicting his wishes, making her pop back even quicker. The pressure was insane. Asking for even a simple little thing felt impossible now, because every wish just brought him closer to the end. It was like he was getting smaller and smaller under the weight of this monster's relentless demand. And then that voice, rough and chilling, growled right next to his ear. Hero, your wishes. In the back of Bijan's mind, a tiny spark of hope flickered the wise old master. Ha! Bring me to the master who told your tale, he blurted out, a desperate shot in the dark. Wachmun's voice, startlingly close, simply echoed, As your wish. Instantly, the opulent palace room vanished, replaced by the humble, familiar shelter of the old spiritual master. Bijan, the god of all rulers, the man of almighty power, crumbled. He fell to his knees, clutching the old man's legs, tears streaming down his face. Demon is creeping closer, and I smell death. I'm losing control, he finished, his voice cracking with desperation. Just as the last word left his lips, the dark, chilling presence of Wachmun materialized beside him, her voice a low, predatory purr. What's the wish now, hero? The master, seeing the great Wachmun for the very first time, found himself surprisingly calm. This terrifying demon, described by his ancestors as chaos incarnate, was behaving with an unsettling stillness, almost a well-mannered patience, despite her demands. How surprising, Gade, he thought, his ancient mind already piecing together the true nature of her game. He knew the dire circumstances Bijan was in, how every passing moment, every forced wish, inched Wachmun closer to being fully unleashed from her ancient curse. Bijan, the master said, his voice calm and clear, cutting through Wachmun's presence. Let us take a walk. Follow this way.
Maktub. Have faith, my son.
He accepted his fate, rising numbly to follow the master. They walked out of the humble shelter, into the vast, open desert, bathed in the brilliant glow of a full moon and countless stars glimmering in the endless sky. The master walked right up to a palm tree and stopped dead. He told Bijan in this super calm voice, "Okay, ask the genie to grab us some fresh dates from that tree right there." Bijan was totally messed up mentally, and this request just baffled him. He looked at the master like, huh? But then, confused and still shaky, he turned to the genie woman. Fetch me some fresh dates from the palm tree," he mumbled, feeling completely ridiculous. Woman, practically glowing with her impending victory, her voice oozing sensuality, purred, "Surely, my hero." She started climbing, her body moving with this weird, almost liquid grace in the moonlight. It was in that moment Bijan noticed it. She wasn't just a woman anymore. Her limbs seemed to stretch, her fingers elongated, and her features twisted subtly, shifting, becoming something else, something demonic, even while still alluring. The master's old words slammed into his mind. Wahman is king of all illusion and shapeshifters. This wasn't just a pretty lady. This was the raw, ancient Djinn. A heavy silence fell, broken only by the rustling of the palm fronds. Then, Wahman was back, holding a bunch of fresh, ripe dates. The master's voice, slow and deliberate, cut through the quiet. "Now, climb back up again."
Go up and down again. Go up and down again. Go up and down.
Trip. Then, without a single warning, the desert unleashed hell. Bijan was completely disoriented, unable to make sense of anything. He was shocked to feel his feet sinking into soaking wet sand, a bizarre sensation in the usually parched desert. A colossal, dark figure emerged from the settling shadows. It stood so incredibly tall, its feet planted on the wet sand, while its head seemed to brush the very stars. Thousands upon thousands of bats and flies swarmed around its massive form. This creature, impossibly vast and terrifyingly majestic, was Wahmun. She stood there. Then, a voice, shallow and ancient, crept from behind him, chilling him to the bone. "You have caught me, hero," it whispered, oozing triumph. "Ask me what's your final wish." Bijan didn't hesitate. There was no doubt, no second guessing. His last wish, the one the master had clearly orchestrated, burst forth, direct and unwavering. "Oh, the great Wahmun," he declared, his voice ringing with newfound clarity and a touch of profound weariness. "With every relentless pursuit, at the end, man works to contain his own creation. I want you to go back inside the bottle."